What is up, guys? Welcome back to the vlog. Welcome back to the channel. It's been a while since I uploaded, so I thought I'd make you guys a video, and something come up on my feed the other day that I found quite interesting. This now marks 1 year of ownership of the Zr2. So what I wanted to do was talk about, in 1 year, what's some of the things we've experienced with the Zr2, what's some of the things I've had to change, what's some of the things I ran into as far as maintenance issues, and some other problems that I've had along the way. So let's just get right into it. So right off the bat, 1 year into ownership of this truck, it's been pretty good. I can't really complain too much about it. Inside, this thing's pretty much near flawless. You guys probably haven't even seen the inside of this truck yet. I dare say to find a Zr2 that absolutely has perfect interior. This one does. The WeatherTech's in it and everything, and it's got 2 Alpines in the door, of course, on each side. We've got Pioneers up top. Also, I added, it's a Pro Wedge JL audio. Slim sub. It's also powered by a 250 watt amp, which is kind of dark, can't see it, but it's over there in the corner, kind of mounted out of the way. And another thing in 1 year of ownership I've changed that I have absolutely fell in love with is making your stock Delco radio Bluetooth capable. There is a way, it's not that expensive, and it's totally worth doing. So on Amazon or eBay, you'll find a lot of these Bluetooth adapters. And this guy right here, basically connects to your phone through Bluetooth. Your phone will remember the device, and it just pretty much, you just hold it for 3 seconds, power it on, and it connects to it. So what I did, instead of opting for, some type of a different radio and having to pay for a dash installation kit and a wiring harness and then trying to cut all this stuff and make it fit or whatever you got to do, I didn't feel like getting into all that, guys. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to see if I can make this thing Bluetooth off the stock radio. I mean, the stock radio's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. It does what I want it to do, and that's it. So upon discovery of this one having a tape player, which is one thing you have to have. So what I had to do was basically, I just found a blank tape that has nothing on it, loaded it in, and the other thing, this is considered the slave. So this is how this whole Bluetooth wireless thing works, guys. So you have to have a converter box. The converter box is on eBay or Amazon, anywhere like that you can find it. And basically what it is it converts and plugs into the stock harness for this guy to this, feeding this. So I have a Bluetooth enabled radio for about 70 to 80 bucks, and it's stock. I didn't have to change anything. It looks all factory. It's an auxiliary 3.5 millimeter jack converter box for a Delco radio, and I'm pretty positive that they're all about the same. And, it depends on your application. But for what I was doing, it wasn't bad. I think they were, like I said, they were around 40 or 50 bucks. And it has everything included with it. And then I went with the wireless Bluetooth piece for $13. Like, I literally, with the shipping and everything, have like $70 in a Bluetooth enabled radio that is hands-free. A little background on this truck in case you guys didn't know. I am technically like the second owner of this truck. The original owner of this truck passed away and deeded it to someone. So technically he did own the truck, but he did not even drive the truck. I think he just tagged it and insured it and like drove it home and drove it like none. Like, he basically told me he might have like put 500 miles on it. So he virtually didn't even drive it. So technically I'm the third owner, but it's like being the second owner. So the original owner had the truck. I bought it with 92,000 miles on it. Bone stock to the mud flaps and all, and the Papal tires that it had on it, which were horrible. So of course, after 1 year, that was the first thing I did. That was like probably within the first week of ownership, was I ditched the mud flaps, painted these fender flares, because this is actually plasti dipped, and it turned out awesome. By the way, Works really good to protect your your flares against rocks and chips and scratches and dings and whatnot. I've had no trouble with these. They've been dipped like this for a year, and here you go. Still looks pretty close to what it looked like a year ago. Now the truck's a little dirty, okay? It's rained obviously, and I've drove home in it. But fact still remains, it's held up well. So Plasti Dip is not bad on flares. I'd say I'm pretty pleased with it. That was another thing that I did after 1 year. Painted the flares and got everything color matched, and I thought, okay, I'm just gonna daily it. It's Bluetooth. I've got the flares dipped. I'll just drive it. I'll wait till the tires wear out. And of course I didn't. I ended up going with these exact tires. So this is 1 year later. I virtually bought these tires almost exactly a year ago to this day. 1 year later, and so far I'd say they're probably, I don't know how far I would give this as percentage-wise, but I'm going to go with they're probably more than half tread after a year, and that's roughly 15 to 16,000 miles. So you guys are probably wondering, these are Mickey Thompson Baja MTZ P3s. They've got roughly 15,000-ish miles on them right now. And I have, rotated them probably about 3 times. I should have rotated them more than that. I usually go about every 5,000, which would make it about 3 times. Honestly, if you want to get more life out of these, rotate them every oil change. You'll see a lot better mileage. But I'm probably half tread, maybe a little more than half. Like I said, 60-70% tread, somewhere in there. It's pretty good. I wouldn't call them shot by any means. So that was one of the first things I did, was I changed this out. So this is like, just 1 year total of owning these tires, and they've been great. I've had no issues out of them. So, that was on stock wheels, and I basically had no lift on the truck or anything other than just it being stock. I added a Flowmaster to it. I've got that underneath the truck. That's nothing special. I'm not even going to bother showing you guys. It's just basically just a welded in muffler. It's got a high flow cat. Nothing special. So another thing that I ended up doing after I did the mud terrains was on a forum, and I put some Zr2 logos on it. There's a Zr2 page called Non-Stock S10 Zr2. They had a little raffle, and I put my truck up to win the cover photo, and something went down where if you won the cover, you got your name in the hat, and somebody else got their name in the hat, and randomly picked a winner, and the winner got like a $20 or $30 expense to whatever you want to put towards your truck. So mine did not have these on it. From the guy that had it before me, the original owner, that was the first thing I asked, of course, when I was buying. I said, "Where's the ZR2 badges?" It was like somebody added the flares, and I got to check in the VIN. It is a legit ZR2. It's pretty hard to fake one if you know what to look for. And so anyway, I added that, and those were around 20 bucks. That was my next little thing that I added after I did the mud terrains and the little things with the color match and the radio and just minor stuff. I was just trying to make a fun little daily out of it. And I bought it with the tonneau on it. I think it's, let me check the brand. I don't even know what brand it is. It is a X-Tang Black Max. That's the cover. If you guys have seen my other videos, you'll see me talking about this a little bit. It's been awesome. They're pretty easy to take on and put off. A little bit time consuming. This one has buttons on it and it snaps on. So I don't know if you're into all that, but it will take you, an extra 2 to 5 minutes, depending on how many times you take it apart, to get the thing off, put it back on. We load kayaks in this thing and stuff, so we like to do some adventurous things. And that's, kind of the reason for getting into this build. So that was a couple of the things that I've done, and then I drove it like that for a while. Got a little more serious into four-wheel drives, and I thought, it just needs something else. It needs something else. So I talked to a guy on Instagram about a set of wheels and tires that he had, and I was trying to get some specs off of him, and what can you run on a stock lift and all this stuff. And I see this question so much on the forums is, hey guys, will 33s fit a stock S10? And no, they won't. They won't. They won't, okay? Just don't do it. What I ended up doing, now this is a set of fuel D525s. They're 15 by 8. I've got the torsion bars cranked up. They're not all the way maxed out. And you know, it rubs full lock off-roading. I say that off-roading because if you're flexing it at full lock, it will rub. Around here on the street, driving around, I haven't really had all that much trouble with it. If you put it in reverse and you back up and you go full lock, you might try to rub every now and then, but it hasn't been bad. It's light, minimal, but the trimming's not so minimal. So one thing I had to do after I did the wheels, I had to get this thing to fit a little better. So as you can see, the front flare, it is gone. I had to omit it. Also, the rear has been trimmed out, so that way, you know, when you turn this wheel, you're not going to get into your flare. So there's a lot of trimming there, guys. There's a lot of trimming. As you guys can see there, you basically have to trim that far up your fender well. And then I kind of just tried to angle it a little bit. It was kind of crude, but it worked. So after I did that, you know, I got the truck lifted in the front, and we got the wheels on, we got the tires on, you know. It's starting to come together. It's starting to turn into a build. You know, this is all in 1 year. So I kind of didn't expect to turn into this, but it kind of has. It's come a long way in a year. I mean, it really has. It doesn't even look like the same truck. You wouldn't think it was the same one if you saw it. I'll try to put some pictures up too of what this thing looked like before. I didn't have too many. So after I did the wheels, you know, the next logical thing to do was try to find some other inexpensive things that make it stand out. And I kept going with it. So I painted the front bumper and matched it to the flares. And it turned out pretty good. I can't really complain about it too much. I painted this valance and this. And, you know, it ended up matching pretty well. I was pleased with it. It did all right. So I dipped all that and made it match. You know, the front pre-runner bar. This is something I get a lot of questions about. These pre-runner bars are not, you know, this is an infab pre-runner bar. I paid around $300 for it. I got it on Black Friday for $280. That's the whole reason I bought it, because it was a good deal. So I bought this thing, and, you know, I put it up on the bumper, and it was not going to fit. The company claimed that you could basically bolt it on, and you can essentially bolt it on when it is made correctly. I don't know what die they had it in. I don't know if they, you know, obviously what jig or fixture they used to weld it. It wasn't close. I ended up having to grind a lot of this away. It may have just been, you know, my luck that I bought this particular one that didn't quite fit my truck. But once we ground away at this a little bit and made us a spacer here, I got it to fit pretty well. But, you know, this wasn't a bolt-on application from my point of view. If you want to make it fit right and you're a perfectionist and you want this thing to look right going down the road, you may have to grind on it a little bit and, you know, kind of position it and get it held right. And I used a transmission jack. If you guys want to watch that video, it is on my channel on the install. So definitely refer to that. If you're doing one of these bars and you have any questions about it, it pretty much goes over everything that we had to do. And, you know, it wasn't terrible, but it wasn't so much of a, oh, just throw it up there, line it up, bolt it on. No, not quite. You know, little grinding, adding some spacers, and we made it work. So the other thing, I added these lights after I got that done. These are Hellas. They came with a kit. I bought them on Black Friday also from Amazon. They were like $70 with the wiring kit, relay, harness, switch, everything. So I was I went kind of wild this Black Friday. So the way these wired up, it's kind of dark in here. Let me get you guys a light so you can actually see this interior and where I mounted my switch for these lights. Ah, yes, much better. Now you can see just how decent this truck actually is inside, as well as the sub in the back, kind of hiding back there. See, it's mounted on the back plate. But, you know, the seats and everything, it looks new. It's got 114,000 miles on it, and it is literally like new. There's not a crack in the dash. There's literally nothing wrong with it. And here's a good way for you guys to see that it is the stock radio, and there is my Bluetooth piece that runs it. So, I mean, I just like it because it's clean. It's simple. You know, there's nothing crazy. So anyway, back to the switch. I ended up mounting it here, and this was a little bit of a pickle because you got to take your brake release handle out, and this piece here has about, I don't know, 8 screws that holds this entire rear panel on. So once you get that off, you can use, you know, a Dremel. Basically, we just kind of hacked away at it and got it where we want it, and then popped the button in place, and it looks really factory. You wouldn't even know it. So let me hit the switch here and show you guys. They're pretty bright. You know, obviously with the truck not running, it's going to not be as bright as it could be. But as you get the idea of how they work, is it's basically a really bright fog light, driving light, off-road light. I don't know if they're seriously, legitimately legal. I run them on the street. Occasionally, a low vehicle will pass by and flash his lights at me, but I had people flash their lights at me after I did a torsion crank. So I think it's a combination of these and mostly these being kind of tilted up. So I'm probably just mostly the little cars are getting blinded going by me. Other than that, though, it's not real bad. I haven't had too many issues. So, you know, we're close into a year of ownership, and the most recent thing that I added, the most recent change, was the roof rack. I did do an upload and an install video on that one too. It was really fast. Honestly, I could have done a little better with that upload, guys, but the thing about it, the majority of the install time on a roof rack is just getting it centered. What you guys saw with me putting the clips on, sliding this through and then bolting it on, it's really simple. But the thing about it is I'm a perfectionist, and I kept looking at it and I'd say, oh, it's an inch off here, and it's in, you know, so I kept going back and forth trying to get it right. So once I got everything centered up and squared away, I was happy with it. So, you know, back to the roof rack. If you guys want to know how these things bolt on, and am I having any issues with it right now, and the answer is no. And do they leak? The answer is no. I haven't had any issues. These things are great. So how they bolt on. This is your Q-clip. Just attaches basically, you know, at the bottom of your door frame, and then they give you these nice little things here to keep from marring up your door. And as you can see, I haven't had any problems with the door getting smashed or scratched or anything like that. It's pretty much like new. These things bolt on and they clamp, so you push this down like in this motion and it'll basically suck it to the roof. This is obviously got like a rubber boot, so it doesn't absolutely just destroy your truck. And then the rack bolts to this, and you just center everything up. I found that it was the easiest way for me to install this, in my opinion, was to measure equally, bolt one side on, do the same thing to the other, then slide these through the Q-clip to the other side, and then bolt them down. That was the easiest way for me to do it. Once I got that, I just measured outside to outside, made sure all the dimensions matched, and once they did, I locked them down. So there you have it, guys. That is a 1 year later video of my ZR2. Everything I've changed, everything that I've had issues with and I've had to trim, and things I've added like the roof rack. Also had this cool sticker made that looks pretty good on there. I like it. Basically, in 1 year of ownership, what I had to do was replace, you know, the ball joints, the tie rods, and CV axles. But I found receipts for everything replaced in the truck, and none of those things had really been replaced anytime recent. So that tells me that most of this stuff was, you know, stock. Nothing was done to it at all, as far as the suspension is concerned. So it wasn't too bad. I mean, it had 100,000 miles on it. You're going to expect things to start happening, but that was, you know, mostly front-end components. Ball joints, tie rods, usual things that go bad at 100,000 miles. There was a couple things I replaced. Also did the wheel bearings, which weren't too bad. They're about 70 bucks for a Moog. I went ahead and done both. So as far as the things that broke, that was 2 of them. So that is the story of the S10. 1 year later, all the mods, what broke, what have I changed, and what have I had to do to get all this to work. And what things have I added that others haven't. And I'm sure, you know, there's obviously some people that have done similar mods as what I've done, but I feel like my truck definitely stands out because it is truly unique, and I have yet to see another one like it. So anyway, guys, thanks for stopping by. Thanks for watching this video. Stay tuned. I do have some more stuff coming for you. I'm apologizing for the uploads this week. I know it hasn't been a very good week for me to upload because the weather has been so bad. It's been 9 degrees here and I've had no chance to upload. So stay tuned, guys. I will be bringing you some more content. Hopefully this weekend we'll get this thing out and play around a little bit. And maybe if we get out at night, we can show you guys these lights and give you a good idea how well the Hellas actually are and how reliable they are on the street, and you know, how they perform overall. So thanks for watching, guys. Stay tuned.